Hello Yu-Gi-Oh players, I'm the RJB0. Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual. So today I want to do a deck review because it's been too long and I enjoy this deck review kind of thing way too much in order to let it go for so long. So this week I tested War Gods for realsies. Oh, I'm sorry, Bujins. I forgot that name is too violent and holy. Anyway, so it was a really interesting week. I tested that one version of that one dude's deck that was on MCole40's channel that went to the second place finish at some big Japanese tournament thing. Anyway, I thought it was absolutely crazy that it was a deck that could run 3 Vanities Emptiness and make it work. So the way the deck works, in case none of you have, or some of you have not heard about how this works, is it's yet another level 4 light monster based deck. I mean, come on, Konami. Can you really just, like, anyway. So the point is, it's level 4 light monsters, most of which are Beast Warrior. There are also some Beasts, Wing Beasts, etc. But it's, yes, yet another one of those to go with Constellars. So the main card for it is this guy named Bujin Yamato, who is searchable by Tenki and has 1800 attack points. His ability is a little bit like Gen X Neutron, in that you can add a War God from your deck to your hand during the end phase. The difference is, for Yamato to work, you also have to discard a Bujin monster. Now, that doesn't sound that great, but I will get to that in a moment. So, the things that you usually search via Yamato are your Bujin relics. Now, your first one is probably the craziest one of all of them. It is Habakiri. It's a winged beast, 1700 attack point monster that, when during the damage step of a battle between a War God Bujin, I'm sorry, a Bujin monster, and, I don't know, an opponent's monster. Anyway, during the damage step with the battle involving a Beast Warrior type Bujin monster, you can discard it from your hand to double the original attack of that Beast Warrior monster during that battle. So yes, the deck essentially has 3 searchable Honest, which, it being a light deck, means that it can run 4 Honests, 3 of which are searchable. Kind of crazy. But that still doesn't really justify the discarding thing. And that's where the other 2 Bujin relics that are out at the moment in Japan come in. There is Hetsuka, which can allow you to banish it from the graveyard in order to protect a Bujin Beast Warrior type monster from being targeted by a card effect, which is pretty darn good. Or you could destroy a face-up card on your opponent's side of the field by banishing the horse thingy. Hell if I remember its name, but it's going to be in my nightmares for years to come. I don't know if you guys have seen that picture. It's horrifying. Anyway, it's really good, and in case they actually manage to take down your Yamato, which is unfortunately the main card of the deck, and you kind of have to protect it a lot, if they even manage to take that down, you have a lovely little spell we call Rise of the Bujin, formerly War God Advent, which was a boss name, by the way. I'm really annoyed that they changed that. Anyway, Rise of the Bujin, which allows you to summon a Bujin monster from your grave and a remove from play Bujin monster, and then during that turn you can only overlay for monsters that are Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast. So, very little restriction on that card for a +1. Not to mention the fact that it can go for the big boss daddy of the deck, Bujin Emperor Susanoo, or Susanu, or whatever. Anyway, War God Emperor Susanoo, Bujin Emperor Susanoo, whatever. I'm just going to call them War Gods from now on. Who can, well, he's essentially a Gear Gigant cross on every drug imaginable. So not only does he have 2400 attack, 2000 defense, and he can either detach a material from him to add a Bujin from your deck to your hand, or send a Bujin from your deck to the graveyard, so already pretty crazy right there. But you can also, with this guy, attack every monster your opponent controls. That's right, you can just go, oh, that's a nice shield you've got there, bam, which is awesome in and of itself, but I'll get to why that's freaking amazing in a second. The one amazing thing I've been noticing about Rise of the Bujin is it allows you to take one of your used up Bujin relics and then overlay it and then detach it for Susanoo to add a, like, Habakiri to your hand, and then use that War God Relics effect from your graveyard. So there are so many ridiculous combos around Susanoo, but then there's also the fact that you can attack every monster your opponent controls, which brings me to my tech of the week. Now, the thing I noticed from this deck is that it doesn't actually produce a whole lot of hand advantage, since the deck is basically revolving around using monsters from your graveyard to protect that Yamato or that Susanoo. You don't actually do a whole lot of drawing. And the deck happens to be centered around Beast and Beast Warrior type monsters. Do you see where I'm going with this? My tech of the week this week was Horn of the Phantom Beast. Now, this card has been seeing less and less play simply because we haven't been doing a whole lot of battle phasing in this format. But with Susanoo and with Yamato and this whole thing going on, this card is amazing. Now, imagine just the fact that as you run over your opponent's monster, you plus every time that you kill one from Susanoo, especially if you've used Rise of the War Gods, War God Advent, Bujin, Rise, whatever. Anyway, so add on to the fact that every time you run something over, you draw a card, and he's a 3,200 beater that can be honested, that can be Habakiri, and can allow you to just pop random cards on the board with the fucked up horse thingy. I don't remember its name. Your little horse mutant guy. And then, like, this is just mind blowing. Not to mention all the stuff that's coming out in Shadow Specters. You've got one that allows you to destroy back row from the graveyard. You've got one that you can banish from the graveyard to turn an opponent's monster to defense mode and then make its defense 0. You've got one that you can discard from your hand when your opponent attacks and it turns into a magic cylinder. There's just so much ridiculous amount of protection for your monsters in this deck. And then, if they get rid of your Yamato, and once Shadow Specters come out, you also have the other guy, Mikazuchi or something like that, who when a War God monster is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon him from your hand, and then add, if you discard a War God monster from your hand at any point during your turn, you can then add a War God spell or trap card from your deck. So you can just grab that War God Advent out, and you can pull off another Susanoo play. So crazy stuff going on with this deck. But how did I actually like it in terms of business casual play, which, as you guys know, is competitiveness mixed with fun? Now, it's extremely competitive, as it proved. Like, even without its full power in Japan, it managed to get a second place finish at a major event with dragons, with Prophecy at full power, with Evil Swarms at full power. Just an amazing finish for such a new deck. So it's proven itself to be very good, and I discovered on DN that it's very good. But actually, in terms of fun, even though it's kind of exotic and it's got an interesting playstyle, it gets extremely boring. And that's because it's very, very linear. Like Evil Swarms, the name of the game for your Bujin deck is Protect the Yamato. As long as the Yamato is on the field, you're winning because of the effects that you can use with your Bujins from the graveyard. But if you lose your Yamato, if you don't have a Beast Warrior Bujin monster to work with, your deck is in serious trouble. Now, Horn of the Phantom Beast works that out a little better simply because it can allow your Hetsuka and your horse thingy to increase their attack and be able to run over your opponent's monsters even if you don't have the Yamato at your disposal. But overall, I really don't like the kind of deck where the entire name of the game is just keep one monster on the field and always protect it at all times. So that is what I thought of the Bujin deck. Let me know what you guys think, and if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you didn't like it, let me know why, and then hit that subscribe button to watch more Yu-Gi-Oh! Madness and more Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual. Thank you guys for watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual, and I got a jet. See you guys.